Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. In this episode here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this Zapruder film, and I'm going to show you how I came up with the time frames in the JFK assassination. Now, let me pull this up here. This is the first time frame that I got from my research and doing the JFK assassination, which shows all 13 shots and the time frame of when each one of the shots made contact either with JFK, Governor Connally, or the surroundings. I got this time frame from the Zapruder film. Not only I got it from the Zapruder film, but also line up other films too, so I get the whole view from different locations. But with the Zapruder film, and the Zapruder film being the only film filmed that day of the whole assassination, so I used that one instead when it came with the time frames. Now, this is the first time frame here that shows all 13 shots, and this is the time when each one of the shots made contact, either, like I said, with JFK, Governor Connally, or in the surroundings. Excuse me. Okay. After I collect the evidence and I see exactly when these shots made contact and the location where these shots made contact with, I mark it down on the time frame as well. So we know the first shot struck JFK in the back, and right back here. Second shot struck JFK in the back of the head, and then the third shot struck Governor Connally on the right side, and then shot number 4 shot JFK in the right side of the head, and another shot to the back side of JFK's head, and so on and so on. Now, this is a location in this time frame that shows you the location of where each one of these shots came from. The 6th floor of Texas School Books Depository, 2nd floor of the County Records Building, shelter number 3, or the rooftop of the County Records Building, and then so on and so on. Now here, with this time frame here, nothing having this time frame, now I know exactly when these shots occurred and the time frame in between each one of these shots. Let's look at shots number 1 and 2. Shot number 1 struck JFK in the back. Shot number 2 struck JFK in the back of the head. So we got the first 2 shots was fired that day, struck JFK once in the back and once in the back of the head. Now, if we look at the time frame as pointed out as I show in the Zapruder film, which I'm going to show you here in a minute and talk about that, we see the first shot struck JFK at 7.16 of a second. The second shot struck JFK at 7.58 of a second, which gives us a time frame of 0.42 of a second between shots 1 and 2. This gives us information showing for a fact there was actually 2 different gunmen from 2 different locations firing different rifles. Okay, so no one, and especially with Oswald, if he was using, like, we'll just go with the car cannon rifle, even if he used a car cannon rifle, which in my research he didn't use it, that was just a decoy rifle, but I go more into that into another video. You will see that he would have to take a shot, reload, and then come back down and take aim and take another shot. But as you see here, there's no way that with 0.42 a second he could come off with 2 shots. So now we know there was 2 different shots from 2 different locations by the order of the shots. Okay, now we're going to go to the Zapruder film. Now the Zapruder film, as you see here, these are all the frames. Starting with 001 of the Zapruder film, only of the assassination part, or Elm Street I should say, I did not start my time frame there. I never start my time frame with 001, and here's the reason why. Because in frame 001 through frames 132, JFK's limo is not even seen there. So we cannot base any kind of time frame there whatsoever, because we don't know exactly when JFK's limo actually turned that corner from Houston on to Elm Street. And it could be, he could still just turn down on Houston when Mr. Zapruder started filming, but actually that's what he did. He actually started turning down on Houston when Mr. Zapruder started filming Elm Street, and then ran out and then he switched over, which I'll go to another video about that. But anyway, from frame 001 through frame 132, that is not in the time frame. I did not start my time frame until frame 133, as you see here. We're going to start with frame 131. And as you see, JFK's limo is not even seen there. JFK's limo is still not seen there in frame 131. Here's 132. Again, JFK's limo is not seen there. It was not until frame 133, now we see JFK's limo is already down on Elm Street. He's not turning anymore, he's already coming down on Elm Street. And basically this right here, he was already going past the Texas School Book Depository. So I marked this down as the location where I'm going to start my time frames at, and I marked it on the map of the location of where this frame was taken at. So I know exactly from this point to this point of how many seconds there was in between each shots and everything else. Now, as you notice too, I want to point this out, as you see here, and that's why I said it was a longer time. That's why Zapruder had time to change his film around during that time. People says he done it beforehand, but no, it was during this time here. Because if you notice that, we'll sit there and watch this film, and we'll see frame 132. Even if we look right here, we just see the motorcycle police officers right here on their motorcycles, but there's less people right here and everything else. Then when we jump, now we see a bunch of people here, where along with JFK's limo coming down and everything else. So it actually gives more time for other people to come there as well. But anyway, like I said, I'll go into that in another video. But now we got frame 133. This is where I started my time frame. Now I'm going to go slow because I'm not showing it in regular speed, which I'll probably show eventually in regular speed. But right now, we're going to go with frame 133. And then he was first struck in the back by frame 224. Now, right now we're coming up to it. We still got, now we just hit 200 frames. Okay, now let's go to frame 224. Oh, back one. Okay, here's when JFK was first shot in the back. This is when a bullet made contact with JFK in his back. I stopped the film because I'm watching at normal speed when I did my time frames. And after I stopped it at frame 224 at normal speed, I look at the time frame, and the time tells me it was at 7.16th of a second, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me just for a moment. Let me pull that back up. Yep, 7.16th of a second when this frame is on the clock on film watch at normal speed. That's where I started. I knew the first shot struck JFK in the back at 7.16th of a second from frame 133. Then when I go continue on through, and right here is when JFK was shot in the back of the head. Like I said, by reactions, by other films and stuff, as I pinpoint here, here's frame 229. Okay, and we're going to zoom in. And as I pointed out before, I also point out my book. Okay, we can see a bullet impact with blood spatter right here, and a bullet impact in the back of JFK's head and everything else. And his face is going into his hands, his arms come up more and everything else. This is the second time JFK was shot. Now, I stopped it again, and now my second shot came up with was at 7.58 seconds when the second shot struck JFK in the back of the head. So after I made this time frame like this, which I'm not going to go through the full details of all the time frame, but anyway, so I just showed you the time frame as I came up, how I found the time frames and stuff. Just like if I go to, let's go up with the frame 401, when the top of the manhole cover, the concrete of the manhole cover was shot at the top corner. Okay, when I come up, when I seen this shot here, I stopped the video again. I stopped the film again because we see the bullet striking at frame 401. Then frame 402, the bullet is ricocheting upward. I did not stop it there. I stopped it not even before, like this is frame 400, which you can see the manhole cover is normal. It was not until frame 401 is when I stopped it. Again, I looked at the clock on the video, and then I knew that would be shot number, I think it's 7. If I'm not, excuse me, I'll pull it up here real quick. Yeah. Okay, that'd be, no, actually, it would be shot number 9. Okay, when I stopped it, it was at 21.0 of a second. That's when that bullet struck the top corner of the manhole cover. Okay, in the film when you're watching at normal speed, right here. So I stopped it here. Then I looked at counter. That's how I make my. That's how I came up with my time frame on each shot. Is when they made contact. As soon as they made contact, that's when I knew exactly what to stop the film at normal speed, stopping it, so I can write down that time that it was taken when it's made that contact. So that's how I came up with my time frames. But like I said, when I did my time frames, okay, I did them in 4. Now after I made my time frames, okay, after I made my time frames, just like this one here, I show all 13 shots, okay. Now these are time frames, like I said, when they made contact with JFK, Governor Connally, or in the surroundings, as I pointed out when I was going over Zapruder film. Starting with frame 133 on straight through to the last frame of the Zapruder film. Okay, that's my time frame. How I came up with the time frame in the assassination. Now, by these time frames, after I made the first time frame, which is right here, then my second time frame was here, which I indicate showing that where each one of these shots made contact with either JFK, Governor Connally, or in the surrounding areas. And that's the time frame that they made contact with. Like shot number 1 struck JFK in the back, and that was at 7.16 of a second. Shot number 2 struck JFK in the back and head at 7.58 of a second. Excuse me, and then so on and so on and so on. Then I marked down the locations where each one of these shots came from, because this also gives me more information as well. Like the first shot came from the 6th floor Texas School Book Depository, and the second shot came from the 2nd floor of the county records building. Okay, now I knew there was 2 different gunmen there, but I want to find more evidence. Like I said, even time frames, because time frame gives us more evidence as well. So I know shots number 1 and 2 was fired from 2 different locations. We got shot number 1, 6th floor Texas School Book Depository. Shot number 2, 2nd floor of the county records building. This could be seen in the Bell film, Much More film, the Zapruder film, and other films as well. But we're talking about time frames here right now, which I'll go into more details later in another video. But we can see that there's 2 different shots fired from 2 different locations. Well, someone says, well, how do you know that the person didn't take both of them shots? You know, shots 1 and 2, you know. This is where we come in handy on. We can look at the time frame in between both of the shots. Now we have shot number 1 taken at 7.16 of a second. Shot number 2 taken at 7.58 of a second, which now we know exactly how much time frame was in between shots 1 and 2, which is 0.42 of a second. So Oswald could not take a shot back to back like that, because you would have to have an automatic weapon with him, and you have to go bang, bang, fire twice. Okay, and there wasn't no M16s used during that time in there or anything else, because he had a car cannon rifle. We're going to look at the car cannon rifle, which I don't like to, because actually to me that was a decoy rifle. Oswald used a Springfield rifle, which I'll make another video about that later. But anyway, you would have to cock that hammer back, pop out where the other cartridge pops out, and then you have to reload that cartridge and then take aim and take fire. And there's no way that one person can go do that within 0.42 of a second. Okay, so now we know there's 2 different shots fired from 2 different locations. So see, the more evidence we find, like the time frames, we can only have the time frame as evidence, okay, which we're going to start with. This is the first time frame. Now we have a time frame on exactly when each shots made contact with. Then we also look at these time frames and we see where these bullets made contact with as well, okay, which gives us more information. And then we know the locations of these gunmen, and we see their locations, and we see their shots that they took from that location. Now we know exactly how much time they would have in between each shots they took. Just like we're going to look at shots number 1 and shot number 5. Okay, we know The first shot occurred at 7.16 of a second. We could see that. Shot number 5 also came from the 6th floor Texas School Book Depository, but that shot took place at 14.7 of a second. That gives us over 6 seconds more in between both of his shots. So between his first shot and the second shot he took, there was over 6 seconds in between both of those shots. So he would have enough time to come back after he takes a shot, cock his hammer back, bullet casing flies out, loads up another shot, and have a little bit more time to ink, and then takes his second shot. Because in my research, Oswald did take 2 shots that day, but only 2 shots. So now we know a time frame between shots number 1 that he took and shot number 5. He had over 6 seconds in between them shots. So see, there's a lot of things and a lot of information you can pull out from time frames. That's why when I did my research, okay, I had to pinpoint when these shots were taken. Then I had to figure out and pinpoint when each one of these shots made contact with, so I could get more information. And more information, as you see here, as I'm pointing out, I'm getting more information, and I can see between shots 1 and 2, we have 0.42 of a second, which shows us that there was 2 different gunmen firing from 2 different locations that day. Okay, which shows us a lot of information that a lot of people don't want to look at, but they overlook it, but they don't understand that a time frame, even if there was 5 shots fired that day, or 4 shots fired that day, or even 3 shots fired that day, if you could pinpoint when them shots were taking place, then we know exactly how much time is in between each of these shots. Just like a bang bang, we can hear bang bang, they said, you can hear bang bang, but was there evidence? So I just want to make this video here to let everybody know how, I come up with my time frames. I'm going to make more videos here soon. Y'all have a nice day.